Let's do an audio check first. How does it sound on Twitch? Okay. I think it sounds alright. Okay, on Twitch we are good. How about YouTube? YouTube, we are alive as well. Alright. What's up? What's up? How are y'all? How are y'all doing? This beautiful Sunday morning. I hope at least it is beautiful for y'all. As it is for me. Nice weather out there. Had a nice breakfast. Nice beginning of the day. Hope you have one as well. Long time no see, as I had a little break in streaming because of how Def Marchy May was, and last weekend and the first weekend of June I just wasn't able to stream at all. So today we're back, and let me clean up the camera a little bit. Oh, right. So between the last stream and today, Unreal 5.6 got released. Almost everyone saw the Witcher 4 tech demo presentation, or whatever, how you want to call it, basically showing off some new features of Unreal Engine 5.6 with the usage of Witcher 4 assets, etc, of how it could look like, although they stated that this is not how the game looks like in development right now and how it will be on release. They are covering their ass as they should, because if they were claiming that this is the game at release, man, man, you know what would happen. Anyway, 5.6 actually got released, and during the preview period I covered a little bit of what they did with the PCG and the Biome Core version 2 of their plugin. And one thing that got my attention was, it wasn't mentioned on the Unreal Engine 5.6 product board, but there was a live stream connected to this that I didn't see, but I saw the name of the live stream from Epic, that they knew that the templates that we all known all these years got refurbished. They are completely new, with a completely new setup, using already some new plugins, like for example the first person template uses the FOV plugin, which has been a long time coming, long time needed to have this shit in the engine, right? And since the game that I'm working on here on streams, that I haven't worked on for a long time ago, but you know, the game that I'm trying to work out here is being done with the usage of the first person template. I kind of wanted to see how those templates changed. They introduced something called variants, and I'm not sure if they said that there will be more variants to this, but every template has a variant of itself, just to show how you could use the engine in one way or the other, and how you could hook up things. And I wanted just to look if there is something that I could use for my prototyping of my game in here. So, and forgive me if I will be doing weird noises with my nose. This is the season of allergies for me, the beginning of summer. So yeah, I already took medicine last night, but you know, for that situation, but we'll see how it will go. Maybe I'll get another one. But let's dig into those templates, shall we? First of all, you have to launch your Epic Games Launcher and then download Unreal Engine 5.6, and then click on the thing so it can run. Unreal Project Browser will show up. Here is how it looks. Here you have different categories, your recent projects that you have on your own PC, game templates, film and video templates. I never clicked on this. Architectural templates, right? automotive, and product design, and some simulation, virtual reality, handheld AR, and some other stuff. We are, of course, using games today. Of course. And here are the presets, right? Or templates. The blank preset don't have variants, really. The first person have 2 variants, or 3 if you want to be, you know, pedantic about this, like none, do not include variant, arena shooter, and arena shooter with weapon pickups and an enemy AI opponent, and survival horror that has some sprinting mechanic, torch set in a dark and suspenseful map, whatever that may mean, right? And what if I want to have C++ version? Oh, if I click C++, I don't have variants, so it's only for blueprints. Oh, so the usability of those is getting a little bit lower, although you can convert the blueprint project into C++ one. But all the setting up that is being done in the C++ version would still be in blueprint, so we would have to manually put things to the C++, which could be a good exercise. Third person has 4 variants. None. Combat, a combat game with melee attacks and AI controlled enemies. Platforming, 3D platforming game with tweaked movement properties and advanced jumping capabilities. And side-scrolling, 2.5D platforming game. Okay. Top down. For like top-down RPGs, strategies, etc. Yeah, and they do have strategy and twin stick, of course, twin stick shooters. You cannot forget about that. Handheld AR. I never really used that. It would be fun to one time do a game jam based on AR. Virtual reality also doesn't have variants really. And vehicle, which has, of course, no variant, time trial, a timed lap with UI and track markers, and off-road, an open world map with an off-road vehicle. Okay, let's start with the one that's interesting me the most. It's first person, and let's make it an arena shooter. Let's name it arena shooter. And let's create this and see what they cooked. I wonder how does the first person FOV plugin works in here. Because I used one from Imaginary Blend and I recommend it, it's awesome. But I hope that the one that the Epic got in here doesn't require you to work with materials that much. Rather, it is baked into the rendering system itself, right? We'll see about that, folks. Okay, so here's our map for Arena Shooter. One of the maps, at least, I hope. Okay, let's just dive in, I think. Let's just click play. Selected viewport, yeah. Let's see what will happen. Oh! Immediately, there's something new about this. I get to see my own body. Kinda like in Dying Light or Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge. Shit, this is such a hard name. So you're running like this. You can jump like this. And you have those arms getting in front of your face. But it looks a little wonky, I gotta be honest. But okay, do we have any other map? If it's supposed to be Arena Shooter, I hope so. Variant Shooter. And that's how it works. We have our whole first person in here. And Variant Shooter in here. Okay. And we have the blueprints for the variant. BP Asset Guideline? Asset Guideline? What is Asset Guideline? I don't know what it is, but if we'll see. I am super interested. Infinite Nathan is here. Yay! Boo! You look lonely. I can fix that +1 viewer. Thanks, thanks. How are you doing? How is your Sunday going? Mine is going alright, apart from like allergies, but that's, you know, something I'm used to. How is your Sunday going? I hope it's as beautiful as it is where I live. Sunny and stuff. You're doing good today. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. I'm checking out new templates variants. A game I wanted to play got DDoSed, but whatever. Holy shit. What game got DDoSed? I wonder. So the servers are down, huh? Damn. A Naruto game. Oh, Naruto game. Do tell. Please do tell. What kind of Naruto online game? Last year I read Naruto for the first time as a manga, and it was a blast to read that manga. It was a freaking blast. I loved it. I 100% loved it. Okay, let's click play in here. We are here. I have some reticle. Okay. There is some weird thing here. I have a wonky gun, kind of. Oh, but you know what I also have? It's cool that they included this, because it's always a problem. Hiding weapon. Oh, it shoots little... Oh my god, those Nerf guns are looking so cool. And then they fall off. I love that. I love the way it bounces. Infinite Nighton says, yeah, it's a super old engine too, which means little devs, and it has been like this for 1 month and 4 days exactly. It's a Naruto MMORPG in a platform called Beyond. Oh, okay, I haven't heard about that. So it's more like a homebrew game, right? Made someone in their house. It's cool that the community does those things. And those nerfs are killing. It's actually cool. Better than the previous example with those funny balls. It looks better. It plays well better. Do I have the aiming down sight? ADS? Nope. Okay, let's try for another weapon. I see weapon models from Lyra. Infinite Nathan says, yeah, but it's not the game, it's the whole platform. It's from the 90s and barely anyone plays it. Oh, okay. Damn, someone DDoS such game. That's kind of assholish of them to DDoS this. It's the whole platform from the 90s, managed by the community, and someone DDoSed it. That sucks. That truly sucks. I feel sorry. I'm sorry. Ah, so it's infinite shooting. It just shows the UI, how it could look like. Okay. And automatically openable doors. That's cool that they are showing. Infinite Nathan asks, you got a Discord server? Yeah, I do. Let me paste the link to it. Invite people. Copy the link. Here's my Discord server. Feel free to join in. On the Discord server, Dexterovsky showed last time that he was working on a measurement tool plugin, and it caught attention on Reddit. It was cool to see, and I guess he's working on it so he could release it to the public. That's cool. That's really cool. And another weapon. Ah, the old one, the classic from the FPS shooter template. And it shoots the little balls. Oh, there's no respawning of the NPCs. Okay. So I don't get to see the damage of it. But I love those little thingies. Meow, meow, meow. They are bouncing off this shit. And how do I swap weapons? Oh, you don't get to. It's a little bit undercooked, I gotta say. I was hoping that if I approach this weapon, I will get to switch my weapon, but I don't get to switch my weapon. So once I got this bazooka, I cannot switch my weapon. I've taken it, but I cannot switch it. Huh. Infinite Nathan says, check Discord. I sent a gameplay video of the game. It's called Naruto Final Fight. Yeah, sure. Oh, it's this type of game. Okay, okay. Hey, it's cool looking. Whoa! Such a huge fire wave at the beginning. It looks cool. Let me maybe put it on the main screen so you all got to see what I see. A Naruto game. Naruto Final Fight on the whole platform beyond. It looks cool. Do you get to create your own character or do you play the characters from the manga? Or both? It looks cool, I gotta say. It sucks that someone DDoSed it. And why? Why someone would pick on such things? There are lots of super corporate driven initiatives that you could DDoS if you are a hacker or something. And you DDoS this game? Shit. I think so. It has been down for 1 month. I didn't get the opportunity. Damn. Damn, it sucks that someone picked such target. Okay, there are some bugs in this template. Like, for example, that you cannot grab, or maybe this is a design decision, but if it is so, I don't like it. That once you grab the final weapon, you cannot change it to other weapons. And that these characters, I guess these are AIs. They don't work. And also they don't respawn. But whatever, let's look through it. Let's quickly look through this example. Let's see how everything is built. Then we'll jump onto the next variant and onto the next template, etc. Because I want to see if I should bring my project to this template or should I stick to what I already have. Maybe there are some cool ideas that I could just, you know, transplant to my project. The engine said, I won't make the Beyond Dream Maker open source. And it said, I bet and freaking killed the service. And by it, I mean the DDoSer. Okay, okay. So there was a demand for making the Beyond Dream Maker open source. The creators said no. So they DDoSed it as a, okay. Damn. I get why community wanted to have it open source because it would open doors to even more awesome games. But to DDoS the whole... It was one guy did it. Okay. Okay, I get it, you might not disagree with that, but instead of DDoSing, you know, someone could build their own platform, right? Try to build it. Damn. So right now they are in standoff, I guess. Damn, that sucks. That sucks. Okay, let's look. Maybe first let's look into the open level blueprint. Did I scripted anything in here? No. Great, because I don't like when things are scripted in level blueprint. I'll be honest. Okay, blueprints. What is assets guidelines? Plugin. Gameplay state tree. Forget stale actors. What the hell is this? Asset guideline. Guideline name, variant shooter. Only check once per unique guideline name. No, this is only, it does not have any script or variables. Okay, but I don't know what this is. Click to open the source file in Rider. Generate project file. Do I want to deal with that? Yeah, I want to. An error occurred. Missing source folder. Okay, so there's some weird bug. Infinite Nathan says, I got a website, and if I could, I would make a Naruto browser game, but multiplayer on HTML5 is bullshit. At the end of the day, who even plays browser games anymore? Yeah, making a multiplayer on HTML5. Yeah, it would be bullshit. Yes. And browser games. Some people still kind of play them, but I guess it's not too much. People would rather download something for mobile. So, you know, you got that right. But still, it sucks that someone killed such an initiative because of the disagreeing with the owner of the Beyond Dream Maker. That sucks. I wonder what this asset guideline thing is. Plugins to check for onload. That's the thing. And how is it used? It's not referenced anywhere. And it sets the name of the specific project setting. That looks cool. But I'm not sure how to use it. Infinite Nathan says, I gotta make a Godot game and make it free. That's the meta. That seems like a good idea. Godot is open source, so you can do whatever the hell you want with it, right? You can make it free, release it, and no one should be angry about you making a game, you know, in Godot and releasing it for free, right? So that seems like a good idea. For sure. And control drawer once again. Okay, blueprints. First person. Let's look at the... There's a shooter interface. Game mode. Does game mode contain anything specific? Oh, it does. It binds, creates an overlay and adds it to a viewport. And it has team scores. And it is being called from, it is an interface from BPI shoot. The interface is for the game mode? Oh wow. Okay, that's interesting. Infinite Nathan says, make the players be able to make their own servers too. Yeah. If players are able to make their own servers and, you know, tweak the settings and maybe add their own scripts, you're basically making the whole platform for them, right? So they should be engaged with it, play around with it. That seems like, you know, a good idea to make the community stay there. If you give them tools, they might stay there and play around, create their own games with it, etc, etc. It seems like a really, really cool idea. 100%. So what is this interface? This is only the interface for getting the team score, update bullet UI, and increment team score. Okay. Let's look into this guy. The setup is, the capsule component is the root component. Then we had the third person mesh and the first person mesh and first person camera inside of his head, of course. pawn noise emitter? That's some new component. Okay, and character movement component. Oh, they don't use mover yet in this example. Damn, too bad. And it is derived from BP first person character, which, let's see if it is changed a bit. No, it features the exact same setup. There's an aiming and moving functions. When possessing, of course, adding mapping context and creating touch UI widget. Okay, so this template should work on tablets and stuff. The camera input, of course, movement input, jump input. So it is a simple one. Although they probably feature some logic to hiding and unhiding the third-person meshes and first-person meshes, right? There is a keybind for swap weapon. Okay, so there's some keybind. We will see if it works in a second. Because I was clicking the regular stuff, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4 and the scroll. And none of my weapons got swapped. But it has the array of owned weapons and it just looping over them. Okay. Then we got shooting. Oh. Wait, it jumps to BP weapon base. Okay, so we'll get there later. Okay. Initialize for a new controller. Event receive controller changed. Here is where differentiating between AI controlled pawn and player controlled pawn will happen, I expect. Yes. And the new if the new controller that is possessing pawn is the player controller, the input mapping context is getting added. And let's see this input mapping context. Swap weapon is left shift. Left fucking shift. I've never in my life, I think, seen a first person shooter or any game in that for that particular reason where you're swapping weapon with left shift. Holy shit-a-moly, that's crazy. That's some crazy input. And we got our first bot on Twitch stream. Let me get rid of this guy. And the goddamn Twitch is making it harder to delete him. What the? Why can't I? What the hell? Wait, hold up a second. Why can't I kill? Yeah. Now I can. Okay. Okay, there was some weird shit going on where for some reason clicking on banning on the Twitch bot just wasn't working. Nothing was popping up, etc. Only like a 15 click make it work. Okay, so left shift changes weapon. So it probably does work, but I haven't figured out that the button mostly used for running is for swapping weapons. But okay, now we know. And I could actually swap this into something different, like for example 1. So it makes more sense for me. And damage event. Oh, they're using regular damage interface from Unreal. If the pawn took any damage, it calculates. It's just a regular float. health. If it is below, destroy actor, and the actor is destroyed. Increment team score. Okay. But still, I am interested in the fact, I'm interested in finding out how the first person FOV plugin works, right? So how do you set this shit up? Because they said it's supposed to be working within this example already. There's nothing in here. Is there something in material? And mannequin. Not really. There's emissive, mask, normal. Nothing on WPO. Gradient. No. So I'm not sure how it's supposed to work. Field. No. Okay, we'll deep dive on it soon. Let me just write it down that that's what we're supposed to find out. Because that's how they promoted this, right? So we will try to find it. Is it in the camera? Maybe there is. First person field of view. The horizontal view in degrees used for primitives tagged as is first person. Okay. And first person scale. So there's a regular FOV and the first person FOV. And why does it matter? Because when you are changing FOV, the whole goddamn thing gets, you know, it shows you more and more of the world, which means things at the edge are getting stretched out. Which means if in first person you were holding a weapon, it would get stretched the hell out, right? And you want to preserve the look of the arms and the weapon itself, right? So long time ago it has been discovered that, hey, you should render the first person models with the different FOV to and make it so it will be constant. So regardless of what the overall FOV you will have in your game, your model will stay exactly as you want it, right? And from what we see here, there's like this first person field of view 70 and the first person scale. So those models are not the model is being scaled down so it doesn't intersect with the scene. So that's one thing. Yeah. So this is how you set it up. You have your first person camera, you set up your first person field of view and first person scale, and then from the comment it says that if something is tagged as is first person, it will be rendered with this FOV. So that does mean that first you have rendering, advanced, first person primitive type, world space representation on first person. Great! You don't have to mess with any goddamn things, any goddamn materials or anything. I love the way it is being set up in such a simple manner. And for all of y'all, it is under rendering, if I'll find it, advanced, and first person primitive type. So you go to your first person camera, set up your enable first person field of view and scale, set the values up, then you go into the meshes that you will be displaying in the first person, you go to rendering, to advanced, and you set the first person primitive type as first person, and it will work. And I can show you what I mean by that. Let's grab the, I don't know, this weapon, right? And now I can change the FOV to, I don't know, 120. The whole world view changed, right? Let's maybe make it full screen. Right, but the weapon stayed the same. I can do like 140. The weapon stayed the same. It's staying the same, right? I can do 60. It's staying the same, right? Let's get back to 90, which is, I guess, how the regular how it worked in a regular way, right? And now let me show you how it would look like if we didn't use those settings, right? So for example, let's turn off on the first person mesh. Actually, I can just use first person camera and turn those things off, right? I guess. Now I can click play, take the weapon. If I'll change the FOV, you see what happens with the arm and the gun? Yeah, it looks all kinds of bad. The same happens if we go like this. Suddenly we don't see hands, and you have to work with that. Let's get back to the 90. So, as I said, to circumvent that, you're going to your first person camera, enable first person field of view, yes. Enable first person scale, yes. You go to your mesh, you set up your values inside of rendering, and first person primitive type you change to first person, and in the first person camera you just check the first person field of view and first person scale, and you're done. And then it will look completely alright once you swap your weapon. Let's get this. Bang. It stays the same. It stays the same. Bang bang. Regardless of what you do to the FOV. And you'll be surprised how long this feature wasn't built in Unreal Engine. Even though it started as the first person game, right? Unreal in '98. And this feature got in only in 2025. Most of the crews were just implementing this shit on their own, or after Unreal Engine 4 got dropped, they were using Imaginary Blends plugin. Kind of fucking funny, right? That it took this long. To do it. Alright, so I actually checked the thing from the agenda. I will for sure, after moving my project to 5.6, I will for sure use that feature because it will save me a lot of time. Alright, what else can we see from here? We have weapon base, right? And it's just an actor. On initialization, it binds itself to destroying of the owner of the weapon. It attaches the... Oh, that's the funny thing. The weapon already has both first person and third person models. So you can do differentiation for your game. For example, you can have way simpler model for the third person. Super optimized, simpler weapon for the third person, TPP weapon, and for the first person have all the details, right? So that's cool. And also in the FPP weapon, under the rendering, we can set up first person primitive type, and the FOV will be taking care of you. That's cool that it's all in the same weapon. Sneaker 101, hi! Sneaker 101 says it's the same mesh, I think. Yeah, it is the same mesh right now. It is the same mesh. I'm just saying that there is a possibility that, you know, for optimization, if your game really demands this kind of optimization, of course, right? If you are developing it for some underpowered platform like mobile or whatever, although mobile these days is so powerful, but technically you could do such optimization that third-person weapon is, you know, something different than the first person, and then swapping which one is being, you know, visible and rendered, etc. And of course, third-person weapon under the rendering will have first-person primitive type world space representation. That's great. I love that. How are you doing, Sneaker 101, this Sunday? I'm doing alright. I have a sunny weather outside. It's really nice to stream today. Sneaker 101 says chillin'. Me as well. Cheers, buddy. Okay, so what happens here? Yeah, we are attaching weapon meshes to the owner. Let's look at this function. Ah, yeah. It is implemented from the interface of weapon holder, and we have also, they are showing off lots of functionality being done with the interface, which is nice. My project also relies on interfaces. Sneaker 101 asks, do you have a project going on? Yeah, I have a project going on that I try to develop on stream. It's been a long time since I sit down to it, but yeah, I do have one. That's why I'm kind of looking in those new template variants in Unreal Engine 5.6, because I want to see if I should, you know, pick one of those as a new basis of my prototype, because I used the old FPS template just for prototypes, and I wanted to see if I should just, you know, redo the whole prototype with this new template, or maybe just pick up some tricks here and there, etc., and use it. One of those tricks is first-person FOV rendering that I will for sure turn on in my project. But yes, I do have one, and this project was kind of made to, because I work on a day-to-day basis as a programmer, gameplay programmer. I wanted to learn a little bit more about design, gameplay design, because even though I work with gameplay on the day-to-day basis, it doesn't mean that I know how to design shit, right? So I created a project that will force me into thinking outside of the box when it comes to this, and I decided to make a project when my only way of interacting within the world is shooting arrows from a bow, and it's not a shooter game. It's neither a shooter game or a movement game. It's supposed to be more of like a logical puzzle game. Think Portal, but not as such high level as Portal. I will never, you know, go up to that level. I will for sure. I would just love to finish this thing as an exercise, right? So, I gotta be honest, it's not that easy to escape the mental box of thinking about how things could work in a video game. So it's a nice exercise. I recommend anyone to like go out of the comfort zone. Sneaker 101 says, oh cool, I code in blueprints, lol. Yeah, this prototype I'm doing strictly in blueprints for two reasons. I wanted to learn more about blueprint scripting, because on a day-to-day basis I'm using C++, so I only have adjacent knowledge about blueprints, but I wanted to know a little bit more how to organize stuff, what is possible and what is impossible with blueprints. And also, I started this project with C++, but I received feedback that dealing with some compilation errors is the bore fest. My friend was falling asleep watching this shit, and you know, I decided, well, maybe, you know, making those prototypes in blueprints will be more entertaining both for, you know, y'all and for me, and it turns out to be the case, right? So yeah, and right now I'm looking through those template variants. First-person shooter, and the variant is called arena shooter. Some new thing from Unreal Engine 5.6. And what are you coding in Blueprints? Do you have a project going on? Or a prototype or something? Okay, so we have this interface, BP weapon holder, so whoever holds the weapon could implement this interface. And they have attach weapon meshes, play firing montage, add weapon recall, update weapon HUD, get weapon target location, add weapon class, on weapon activated, deactivated, on semi-weapon refire. It is probably for semi-automatics, but this name and this name could be interpreted in a couple of ways. One of the hardest part about programming is naming things, so they could only be interpreted in one way. Shit is hard. Sneaker101 says, yeah, I have one. I'll send screenshot links. Oh, cool, cool, yeah. Let me look at this. Is it okay if I show it off on the stream? Because I would love for everyone to see it. It's okay. Okay, so let me put this up here. Nice. Nice. I like the style of it. It feels cozy. Nice. Nice. Damn. Damn, I like it. I like it. I really do like it. And you have new ones. Okay, let's look at those. Damn. Damn, nice. You have a nice, you have an eye for putting things together, for the composition and everything. It looks really freaking lovely. Damn. It feels so cozy and nice. Like, I kind of want to be there and just, you know, hang around. It's very inviting. Sneaker101 says, thank you. Yeah, the style is well established, thank you. Yeah, like really, it immediately, like, you know, catches my attention. Like, oh wow, this is nice looking. This is nice looking. So what kind of genre is this project? I'm guessing from the debugs in here, stamina, hunger, etc., that it is some kind of survival. Or there are survival aspects about it. These are nice projects. My project is not looking as nice as this. I am straight up just white boxing everything, super ugly placeholder visuals because I kind of want to get down to the gameplay of things. And then I will try to define some style for it based on, you know, what I'm capable. But this looks really nice. This looks really nice. Sneaker101 says, open world RPG, but without building, chopping trees, etc. It's more like Skyrim. Ah, okay, okay. So more of an adventure type of deal, right? When you're walking around the world and the adventure finds you, basically. Nice, nice. Nice. And how did you come up with this art style? How did you explore this? I'm really curious about this. Because I never done stuff like this. It's still in front of me on the timeline of making the project. So I don't even have a slightest clue of how to start this stuff. Okay, so they are having this interface of BP weapon holder when it attaches weapon meshes. Yeah, but I kind of wanted to see. The target is the actor. Ah, okay, so he has. BP shooter has. But I don't see. Oh, there's a whole other side of blueprints. Hello. Even add weapon class. Is weapon already owned? And then it adds the weapon if we don't have it. Plays the montage. Okay, so it implements BPI weapon holder. This is why using interfaces is cool when you're prototyping in blueprints. because you can specify all the functions, and then the weapon base can just call it and could not care less about how it is being implemented. And each pawn, if they have some needs for specific logic, they can implement it. And you, when you are creating this BP weapon base, you can just be like, okay, I'm calling this, it's on whoever makes the BP FP shooter to actually handle all the events, right? So it is nice way of division of responsibilities between different classes. And nice logic separation. Nice, nice. I like it. I want to see the weapon attachment because I am curious about, are they using sockets? Do they make an assumption about, okay, there's one socket, or should what kind of logic is there, right? Even attach weapon meshes, attach actor to actor, weapon actor to parent actor, okay, and then the first person mesh. Yep, it uses socket. And then it uses the exact same socket for the third person mesh. Okay, okay. Sneaker 101 answers my previous questions about, establishing stuff. Sneaker 101 says, yeah, I don't have story yet. It was kind of like vibe coding. Oh, okay. I just downloaded some 3D assets from Quaternius and kept on rolling. Damn, those are assets. Wow, then you really do have the eye for composition, because I could take the exact same assets and I wouldn't compose such a scene. And I know this because I tried this a couple of times, downloading some assets from packages, etc., and composing a scene, and oh boy, you do have to have an eye for that, and I don't have it, so kudos to you. Nicely done. Sneaker 101 asks, I'm curious, is there interface like system in C++? Yeah, there's the whole interface basically exactly working like this in Unreal Engine C++. Let me show you. I can type Unreal Engine 5 C++ interfaces. And let me quickly get in here. There's like the whole documentation about this. Actually, this is one of the better documented parts of code in Unreal Engine C++. And you get to create like your own C++ interface, declare all the functions if you need it. They could be so-called pure virtual, which means they have no default implementation, and if you call them and they don't have their own specific implementation, it will fail, right? Or you can provide some basic implementation if you really want to, but then it kind of defeats the purpose of the interface. So yeah, you can do the exact same stuff, and with that I think you can also expose things to blueprints, right? So C++ programmer can create the interface, and as it is being shown in this example, with couple of macros for ufunction, flags for ufunction macro, you can expose this to the blueprint programmer, right? So, and you can also expose it in such a way that the blueprint programmer will be able to create their own implementation if they need something very specific, right? So there is extremely similar way of doing it, and you can also encode asks if you implement this interface, etc. Really nicely documented and nice way of doing things, right? So there is parity there between blueprint interfaces and C++ Unreal interfaces. And when a weapon is activated, the HUD is being updated, and the anim instance class on the first person mesh and the third person mesh is being changed depending on the weapon, which makes goddamn sense, right? And it's being taken out from the weapon, so I guess first person anim instance class, which contains the first person weapon animations, and third person Anim instance. Okay, okay, so that's great. What other cool events do we have here to look up to? But basically in my project I also use interfaces in a very similar fashion, sorry. And I really recommend it. I'm glad that they are showing off usage of blueprint interfaces in that way in this template. Because it is a cool way of prototyping, creating a separation between logic of, you know, two different things without making big assumptions about, you know, how they work internally, etc, etc, etc. And when the weapon starts firing, it calculates times of the last shot, refire. We can either fire right away or we are full auto but still on cooldown. That's cool. It's showing off those simple logic tricks. Get weapon target location. That is interesting. And it is, so it should be implemented in a player, get weapon target location. But where? Okay, let's find it. Get weapon target location. And Sneaker 101, does your game have a title that you can reveal or not yet? Or prototype name? And I forgot to ask how many players for this game. It seems like a cool single player game, but maybe you're adding co-op or something. And what kind of combat are you planning on? Will there be magic or something? We have implemented get weapon target location. That's what I was interested about with this name, because I could interpret it in like 2 or 3 different ways. And from what I see, it's just basically, hey, let's trace from the camera and then correct it from the weapon and see what are we hitting, right? It basically just do a hit scan, right? And it shows you how to do a hit scan. Oh, and they don't even do the corrective trace. Okay, because sometimes what you do in first-person games, if it is required by design, right, is when you have your first line trace from the camera to see at what you're pointing, and then the second line trace from the muzzle of your weapon to see if, you know, there is something blocking from your weapon on the road to the target that you picked with your camera, right? Because it might happen in certain games. That, yeah, from camera, no obstacle, from the weapon, coming from here, there is an obstacle. But they don't do corrective tracing, which is cool for this kind of project. Ain't no problem about this, right? Weapon recall is being done in here. Add controller pitch input, and that's so cool that they are showing out in here. And let me tell you why. Sometimes people are asking how to do a recall, and they are getting a bad info basically about how you should do it with animations or whatever on camera shakes, and it's like, no. If you want to add recall to your weapon and you're supposed to be able to counter it with your mouse or your controller, you have to add pitch input, because otherwise, if it is done on animation or camera shakes or whatever, the countering with your controller just won't work, right? So I'm glad that they are showing it off like that. Because I had some discussions when some people try to convince me that no, it should be done with animation. No. And then fire bullet. Let's look at the fire bullet. Spawn the bullet class. So each weapon has its own bullet class. Do we have the default here? Yeah, we do. Pistol bullet. I want to see how that is implemented, because I also looked at I have in my project arrow, and I could look up a couple of tricks probably in here. And of course spawns actor, calculates bullet transform, which probably gets the socket location from the muzzle. That's why they don't need to do corrective trace, because these weapons are not hit scan based. They are projectile based. So the projectile will stop on its way if it's intersecting with something anyway, right? But it basically, I'm doing the same thing in my project, right? Let's go from muzzle and figure out the rotation for the target position, and make the transform and spawn the bullet with that exact transform and rotation. That's great. It plays the montage, of course, weapon recall. Okay. Fire bullet. Make perception system noise so the enemy AI can investigate this location. That makes sense. Scheduling of shots for fully auto. That's cool. Yeah, this type of logic and well commented logic is good to see in the template projects. To show off, hey, if you're prototyping this, this is one way of doing it. It's really cool. Okay, let's look into BP pistol bullet, because I kind of want to see how they did make this bounciness on the event of hitting something, right? Does it implement any interface? Let's look at this. No interfaces. Okay, so everything supposed to be here. There's a wiggle component in here, which is a timeline. Okay, so this whole thing is being spawned. It just, according to the projectile movement variables, it just goes along with the rotation. If it hits something, first it sets the collision enable to false. That makes 100% of sense. Depending on the, oh, that's a cool trick. Depending on the mobility of the component that we hit, it will do different things. If it is hitting something static, it attaches itself, right? I mean, it sets the actor location, and I guess it stops the movement, right? Because we hit something. And then it plays a wiggle, which is add relative rotation in the roll. Ah, so they're doing it on the timeline. The cool, let me show you, the cool bounciness when we hit something, it's being done completely on a timeline with just setting relative rotation on the roll. That's clever. That's clever. You probably can do it cheaper with the material, but it's cool to show off. And it's such a cool freaking small detail to be included in a template project. I wish more, and we will see, maybe more templates from new templates have this kind of detail. Attention to detail. Only Good Sir says, that's cool. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, it is hell of a cool. So that's how it does the wiggle. And after it's completed the wiggle, it sets linear velocity to 0, of course, and it detaches itself and simulates physics to false. To true, so it can fall down, of course. But if we hit stationary on movable target, it immediately falls down. That's great, that's great. Damn, that's so cool. They did it so simple, but such a simple trick, but already makes it look cool. I love this type of deal. I love this type of deal, for real. So, yeah. And as I said, swapping weapon works. It just have been set to shift instead of any other input that would make sense. So that's crazy that they decided to have shift as a weapon swapping. But okay, do we have anything more cool to seen here from like the blueprint implementation type of deal? I don't think so. Or at least I don't see anything. We can open up the content drawer. Variant shooter, blueprints, pickups. We just have regular pickups, BPI pickups, DT weapon lists, define struct, weapon table. Pickups probably have, yeah, add weapon interface. That's cool. Here's just a weapon list of things that could be used, and there's static meshes, right, to be represented. And we of course have the struct to define to be used with data table, which is cool that they are showing off how to use those, because I saw so many crazy freaking setups out there. Now BP pickup, what it is, it's just an actor with some visual representation. It has weapon type in here that you get to select, and depending on what did you select in the spawner on the level, it will async load, which is important, the static mesh, and set it, and set up the weapon class, and that's basically it. It will be spinning on event tick. Yeah, why not? It could also be spinning on the material, not a problem. And then adds weapon, hides, set cause enabled, disables tick, and it waits until it can be respawned. Perfectly simple pickup setup. And then on the level, you can just select it. The one thing that I would add though, if I were to be stickler to details, is, yeah, we have the respawn time, we have the data table, and we can select the specific row. What I would do, which I'm not sure if you can do it in blueprints, in code for sure, in C++ code, I could make it so that if I'm selecting rifle, it will be displaying rifle in here instead of this white or gray cube. But I'm not sure if you can react on editor events in Blueprint. I think it might not be true. It would be possible. So, because if it would be possible, they probably would show it off here. Anyway, pickup we looked through, we have like a pistol, which is just a pistol with its data, like the first person anim instance, the shooting montage, bullet class, current bullets, magazine size, refire rate. Is it full auto? No. How loud the shot is for AI and the perception system, replication stuff, regular deal, right? For all the weapons, that's great. Projectiles we have in here. I don't think there's anything, I don't know what this guidelines is. I tried to look at it, but does controller have any specific deal? Not really. Not really, just a respawn. Yeah. I guess that's kind of it when it comes to blueprints. I mean, yeah, we have our AI that doesn't work. I'm not sure why. And we have our whole AI setup, which is getting spawned with some weapon. It can take damage, it can die, of course, stop active movement, etc., etc. Weapon interface, yeah, it can attach weapon to itself if it gets one. It can start shooting and do auto shooting. Ain't nothing more complicated. Apart from, you know, doing all the EQS, etc. but and state trees. We can quickly take a peek at it. If it is attacking, then it should be shooting or reloading. And if it has no line of sight, it should be checking if we are attacking. Okay, stage 3 is a completely, and AIs is a completely different, another stream. I'm not good with AI yet. So, yeah, I have to plan some AI-based stream. And by AI-based stream, I don't mean ChatGPT or Gemini. I'm talking about, you know, enemies in game. Even though I'm in the game development industry for 10 years, I haven't really worked with enemies. I never really liked it because the idea of debugging why enemy did something stupid is horrible, but you know, I want to finish projects, so I have to create a stream and I will be doing those deals. And I will be probably using stage trees for this shit. So, that's when I will come back to it. But as far as this variant goes, I think we're done. Let's create the other variant. I'm waiting for the Epic Games to show up automatically, but it doesn't, huh? Okay. Let's bring up the 5.60 launcher and select the first person shooter horror. Hard word to say when you're not native English. But they have the survival horror variant. Let's look at this. Let's see what they showed off when it comes to like setting up there. The two things that I will take from the previous variant to my project is for sure the first person FOV rendering. I might take the trick of bouncy arrows. I might pick up that trick. And yeah. Yeah, I will have co-op in this project, so I might pick up the trick of, you know, like all the first person, third person type of deal, right? I of course will pick up on that. And the usage of interfaces I already have in the very similar form and fashion, right? So let's close the reference viewer and let's open up the variant of survival horror. Variant horror. Let's open up this level. I know a lot of people are making their own horrors, so let's look. Oh, it is dark, it is spooky. Okay, there's some lightning playing around with some effects going on, some dusty effects. Okay, let's click play. We are walking slowly, we can run, and we have the stamina. Oh, it's nicely bouncing when I'm running around. How the hell do I turn on the flashlight? They were supposed to show flashlight in here. Yeah, we have the stamina and UI tricks going on. How do you turn on? flashlight, if there is even one. There's no weapon. Oh, I do have some flashlight. I don't know how I toggled it. Or is it automatic? But this is the setup. Basically, no weapons in here. Very close FOV. So you won't get to see too much. And there's no monsters running around or anything. More like that. Damn! I thought that they might be in the horror, survival horror variant, they would be showing off like some monster chasing you, but I guess that's not the case. In here, okay, firstly, let's maybe look into the input and see. Oh, there is no flashlight input. It's just there's a slight flashlight going on there. Okay. Do they have anything in level blueprint? I hope not. They don't. I don't like level blueprint scripting, I'll be honest, and it's mostly because I've seen it abused so many times. You have game logic that's supposed to be in more like a in the game state. That's where it should be. It's being blueprinted out in level blueprint, and that's not a place for that. Okay, let's look into this blueprint. What do we have here? Once again, we have the first person camera, and it just has attached spotlight. That's it. Just spotlight attached as a flashlight. Okay, that's cool. Character movement component, similar setup as previously because it's based on the same parent class. Just that we don't have weapons. And creates a sprint meter in UI. Adds input when it's being possessed. When we're sprinting, we have the event of sprint fixed tick, which I don't understand what does that mean. So when I trigger sprint, if we have available sprint meter and not recovering, update time remaining on the sprint meter, so we're updating bar. Decrease the move speed. Okay, but where the recovering walk speed, where the max walk speed is being changed? Here. If not recovering from sprint, okay, now I get it. Okay. So like, the idea is once you put sprint, once you click sprint input, but this is only being started by event touch jump start. So when you press start, you're pausing your sprint for a fixed tick. And if it is, depending on the logic, it will be updating your bar or setting your max walk speed. Okay. And if not, your max walk speed is being updated and set as this. I don't get it why you have this timer, to be honest. I mean, the only thing that is really in here is constantly checking if you have stamina. This is the only thing. But it could have been done in tick instead of creating the timer by event. But okay, that's how they want to handle it. Instead of using tick, they want to use timer, save the handle, specify the very specific amount of time for this timer, and that's it. Okay. Infinite Nathan says, I spent like half of the time I was gone installing Pygame and the rest programming a simple prototype. Oh, nice. My hands are so freaking cold. It's winter over here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot. Where you are at, it's winter. And it's starting to get warm in here in Poland. But you're back. Hi, nice to have you back. Pygame, huh? I think my friend is prototyping some visual novel with the Pygame. Or RenPy? No, he's using RenPy. And how is it working with Pygame? How is prototyping with Pygame? I do wonder. I never used it myself. And what kind of rendering capabilities Pygame has? Is it like 2D or 3D? Okay, so the first person character for the horror doesn't have a lot to him. He just has UI to show you how you can set up UI and connect to it, and some sprinting logic. And that's kind of it, really. Okay. Infinite Nathan send on Discord, which I will once again send the link to. Give me just a second. Here's my link. Here's the link to the Discord, everybody. And he sent on the Discord about the Pygame that, let me just show how it looks, but what the hell? Now it works. This is an ASCII game in Py. Ah, okay. You move right, you move right, you move right, you move left. Okay, so it's you creating more of an ASCII game prototype. Okay. Nice. So what kind of prototype are you making? What kind of game it will be? What kind of genre or what kind of gameplay, if there is no genre for that? Okay, so for the horror variant, there's not that much to it. You can look up the sprint logic in here, but I'm not sure. I think I would done it a little bit differently. I'll be honest. Start sprint drain for UI, etc. It shows you that you can create like a simple flashlight with the spotlight, and that's kind of it. There's no monster running around. I mean, no, there's also like automatic doors that you can look at, right? And how to create this atmosphere, you can look at those particles in here attached to it, right? And as dust mode, which we can open up actually quickly. Yeah, you can look up this, how it's been set up. A simple particle, really. Yeah, so you can look that up. The variables for those lights to create atmospheric lights, the automatically openable door frame, which stores the door position. If actors enters it on timeline, it just moves the doors away to a closed, from open to closed position, right? So it's lerping this, and if someone gets out from the door, it's just reversing it, so basically closing. The one thing to look at it is when we are calling actor and overlap, we are also checking if there's no other overlapping actors in there, right? That's a nice check. But other than that, you know, you can just look at it as an example of how to create the atmosphere, etc. Probably how to make this whole sky look like that. Which I'm wondering how, oh yeah, you can look at the directional light that they set up, the light color, low intensity, how they set up exponential fog, the whole skylight, sky atmosphere, Rayleigh scattering. Yeah, you can look at that, how to build that within this. Infinite Nathan answers about what kind of genre he's prototyping. RPG, top-down, complicated as hell. If Dwarf Fortress was an RPG, is the best explanation. Oh, okay, okay. So you're in it for that, huh? For this hardcore simulation with the RPG elements. Nice, nice. Oh yeah, then ASCII art is the exact thing that you need, because the logic will be so freaking tough to process that you don't have processing power for 3D graphics if you're going for Dwarf Fortress. But, you know, I salute you. I salute you. That's a hardcore thing to do. I really salute you. I really salute you. There's been a nice documentation. Not documentation, what the hell am I talking about? Now it's documentary from NoClip guys about Dwarf Fortress. I can recommend it to everyone who's interested in game development because it is a nice story. A 4-parter from Danny O'Dwyer and the rest of the crew. Really cool. Infinite Nathan says, simplicity is key, plus 2D art would be a drag. Yeah, they are covering that in the NoClip documentary about Dwarf Fortress. How basically they weren't able to do it themselves. They had to have, you know, additional company to provide the 2D art for the Steam release, etc. And how much of pain in the butt it was. Really, really some cool and inspiring stuff, right? And also there's a real nice human story, so, you know, ups and downs, so it's always inspiring to see that we are not the only ones with, you know, problems, etc. Yeah, so I guess that's it for the horror, huh? Not too much to it. In all honesty. We can, of course, you know, if you're interested how this UI bar is created, then you can go into graph here and look all that up. But it's made on animations. I'm not surprised. It's made with animations. So you have the whole animation set up for this bar. How it, you know, bounces around, etc., etc. Yeah, so there is one thing to look that up here. But I don't remember how to check for the animation. That's the, animations. You just click here and you have drain and you can look it up. And you can just play this. And they are just playing with the fill color and opacity on the progress bar and the transform, of course. And if we move progress somewhere like here, oh my god, animations. Yeah, super simple animation done on 2 variables basically, fill color and opacity. But I like how they upgraded the animation toolbar. I don't really work with UIs, so I remember the like old school one, but right now if it is a fill color and opacity, you get to see the preview of it, how it looks in each keyframe. With the transform, yeah, it's hard to visualize that, but still for the colos and other things, probably some image operations, it's nice to see here. Yeah, that's it for the horror one. Now let's let's. Where's the Epic Launcher? Yep. Let's take the third person. Template and see their variants, right? So let's take. Get out of here, Discord. Get out of here. Combat. The melee combat. Okay. Combat. Let's see that. This third person pack. Blah blah blah. Yeah, let's look at this. But I need a quick break. So I'll be back in like a hot second. Or a hot minute, huh? So I need a small break. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. See you soon. And I'm back. Hello, hello. I needed a small break. I got my small snack. In here. So, let's look at the new third person template. Shall we? The same mannequin that we all know. Same animations, blah blah blah. But this is just a regular third person level template. Let's look at the variant that is supposed to be about combat. Oh, we have some animations. And we have progress bar as a health bar. Oh, we have combos. We can wind up our punch with the right mouse button. Yeah. So it is doing like that, huh? It has some root motion animation, I guess. It's cool, actually. I wonder how those thingies are being done. Those dummies. The camera could, you know, probably work a little bit better. But it's not a game, it's just a template. And when we are actually hitting something, we have some nice sparks going on. That's nice. Okay. That's cool. Do we have sprinting? No. Crouching? No. We have no jumping either. But damn, the guy is strong. We have an enemy and an arena. Let's fight him. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey. And why is he idling? Oh. Come here. And we have the something when they attacked us, we are going into the air. Yeah. So there's like a bounce up type of deal. Oh my god, two right now. Oh shit. And what is this doing? He's giving me a chance for a fair fight. Alright. Now there's only one again. I wanna kick him. Kick him! Holy shit! The guy from behind. Yeah, there is some basis for some combat game in here. I beat everyone. I'm the master. I'm the Saitama right now. It's the coolest sample I've seen. Template so far. Not sample, template. It's super cool. It's actually playable and has some fun gameplay to it. Huh. It's really cool. Okay. First, let's see if they coded anything in blueprint levels. No. Great. Let's get into blueprints. We have 3 interfaces. Attacker, activatable. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce that. And damageable. Damageable has apply damage, apply healing. There's healing in this game. Huh. Okay. And handle death. Okay. Then attacker, someone who can attack, is do attack trace. They can check combo. Oh, and we have descriptions here. Signals the actor to perform melee attack, collision checks, and apply damage, usually called from animation notifies. Damage source bone. Okay, check combo. So, they have some kind of prototypey combo system in here. Nice. Signals the actor to perform combo input checks and changes animation accordingly, usually called from animation notifies. And check charge attack. Huh, no description. Nah, it's kind of self-evident. Toggle interaction. Activate interaction. Okay. What controller has in here? Respawning and of course binding inputs. Yeah, and respawning. Okay. Let's get into BP combat character. As I expected it. It's a huge ass blueprint. With a completely custom setup. It doesn't inherit anything from a regular third person blueprint. A player controllable combat character can perform melee attacks and combo chains using animation montages, can deal and receive combat damage, can die and respawn, uses ragdoll physics on damage and death. Okay, let's get on this blueprint tour. It's huge, but it's not a spaghetti. Everything is well commented. Awesome. And which interfaces do we inherit? Navigation agent interfaces. That's what we inherited. And we have attacker, damageable, and touch interface. Oh, it works with the touchpads. Okay. We have, of course, camera inputs and movement inputs. We have mapping context. Depending on the platform. Ooh. If Windows or something else, mouse look. If not, touch interface. Okay, okay. Character initialization. When we are initting for the first time, of course, live bar, we are setting live bar. Max HP. And that's where the camera is being set. Okay. And it's set on a boom. Camera boom. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here is the meat and potatoes in here. Melee attacks. And this whole thing is for melee attacks. And this for damage and death. Okay, let's go through melee attacks. When we are clicking combo attack, we are checking if we are currently attacking. If true, we are caching this attack input time. If we are not attacking, we are changing the variable, of course. Combo count is being 0. Then there is like an event from attack from cached input. Okay. Combo attack montage. Let's look at this montage. So it features root motion data, as we can see by this black line. This shows you the root motion trajectory. So he moves forward with that attack. Then we have another attack. Okay, I get it. I get it how they set it up. And I'll explain it in a second. We have 3 attacks in here, right? Melee 1, which is the first punch. Melee 2, which is the second, going from the second punch to the uppercut. And melee 3, which goes immediately into a kick. Nice animation also. I guess, first of all, this notify, we can open it, is what calls attack trace, which, if we look at here, this is this event that is being called, and it actually does tracing. And it's sweeping forward in the character's facing direction. And we are only checking for pawn and world dynamic boxes. And it does multi-sphere trace for object that starts from the damage source bone location until a little bit, further in the melee trace distance. So the melee combat is based on traces. And if we hit something that is of interest of ours, we of course can apply damage. Oh, and that's how they use the interfaces here. It calls apply damage on the interface damageable, but if a given actor, in this case a box, doesn't have this interface, nothing will happen. Damage impulse, yeah, some locations about, the knockback impulse, knockback effect, etc. Vector up. And then we are calling shake the camera. That's how the attack happens. And the check happens right in this moment of the attack. After we actually, that's funny because it's after we connect it. And how this in here? Here it is when we are kind of hitting the jaw. And here it is when our leg is most straightened out and hitting the face probably. And bow. Okay. And then we have the notification of check combo. So I guess the moment I want to move this thing. Yeah, the moment we hit that check combo, if the check combo passes, it will probably skip to this section, right? Melee 2. And the same shit will happen. And this check combo, it will probably skip into melee 3. Let's check this theory, shall we? Yep. It's calling check combo. Let's look at check combo. It is here. And it's checking. Are we charging attack or are we just attacking? Because we only can do a check combo if we are not charging but still attacking, right? How much time has passed since we last received an attack input? We can adjust the time tolerance. So we can see if the timing of the button press was correct in here, right? So we are checking at our cached attack input time and our tolerance and whether did we press it in the correct time window. If we did, we are of course, zeroing the cached attack input time. We're waiting for the next button press. We are incrementing the combo count, of course. And then, as I said, we are in montage, we are jumping to the section, and the combo section is being put in here. Melee 1, melee 2, melee 3. Depending on which combo count we have. This is the section that we'll be jumping to in this montage. It's actually quite okay setup, I'll be honest. I'm not really liking the fact that you have to, by hand, remembering that, oh, melee 0, 1, melee 0, 2, melee 0, 3. And here to make sure that it matches those, you know, sections, but I don't think there is any other method. It is based on names. Unless you can, but it would have to be done probably by C++ code. And I'm not sure if it is true. Unless you can access those section names at the beginning of initialization of the character, then maybe you can just, you know, in the runtime create this whole thing to fill out with the name of the section, name of sections. Or when you attach the montage, you could create maybe an editor window that you could click and it will automatically fill this combo section for you, etc. With the C++, you might have a little bit more customization in here, so you don't have to input these things by string, but in blueprints you have to do it by hand, right? So there's a room for error in here, but you know, if something doesn't work, at least you will know where to look. You can just get in here and be like, oh, okay, I probably have a typo in this shit. And that's exactly what happens, right? As I said, it's checking a combo. If we pressed it in the correct timing, and there's something messing up with my animation montage preview, that sometimes I cannot grab the preview line. The one thing that I would probably love to do in like a full-fledged melee combat prototype game is to actually specify the timing windows, not in blueprint in here to show it as a tolerance, but probably I would want to have those windows in here, right? So I would probably do it a little bit differently. I would probably, instead of one anim notification, I would have what they are being called, notified state. And during the whole state, if we press the input, that's when I would be skipping to the next melee. So, for example, designer or an animator could just get down to it and, you know, add, let's, you know, add whatever, add notified track. Let's add, I don't know, whatever state, right? It is trail, but let's imagine that this is a check combo. Check combo, freaking. Notify state, right? So then the designer or the animator or whoever could just be like, okay, this is the input window for when do we check that the combo is arrived. So the exact same logic, but instead of like checking the timing tolerance, you could just have it in here. If he pressed in here, if someone presses the input while this state is active, then we are skipping to the, you know, to the next section, because it's a little bit more easier to see and easier to balance, right? That's what I would probably do, but whatever. Combat character, yes. So that's how those combo attacks do work. And of course, the whole moving forward when the character is attacking is not being done by code. It is baked in as a root motion animation inside of the animations themselves. And also, this is like a preview of how you can create one animation montage, but using 3 different animations. and how you can create one montage that will serve you as a combo montage that will have everything you need, right? And it will blend in a way that you want it to, etc, etc, etc. So that's nice. Okay, what else do we have here? Combo checking is here. Charged input attack. Okay, when you are charging, it saves some variables connected to, hey, are we charging and attacking? I'm sorry. Set the charging attack flag based on input state, and then if we are attacking, we are caching the attack input time as probably another combo. If we are not attacking, then we're actually releasing the attack immediately. And we are playing the montage and check for cached attack input out of combo. Yeah, because we might have clicked think while being in the state of, you know, playing the montage, right? So if we completed the montage or we are being interrupted, we are checking for attack input combo. If we are in the time tolerance, and if we are either, you know, doing another charge attack or a regular attack from cached input. Seems straightforward. It looks intimidating, but it's really straightforward. We have just a regular combo attack, anim notification, events, checking combo and tracing, charging attack, and checking for cached attack input when we are out of combo. And then on the damage and the dev, we are applying damage using regular Unreal damage interface. Here's a fun thing. When the damage is being applied, character movement has a function add impulse, and we are adding an impulse, right? So it will launch us in the air when we are being hit or we are hitting someone. That's nice. And we are of course spawning the sparks as we were talking about. And if we are already on the ragdoll, then we can add an impulse to a ragdoll. But I don't get one. Here's the apply damage and here's any damage. Ah, when we received any damage, we can either handle our death if we are below 0, then we are handling death. If we aren't below 0, then we are updating the life bar. Oh, they are using a ragdoll physics blending with the animation mesh, with the animation. That's interesting. I haven't noticed it, that when we are being hit, we're not only playing, you know, like the montage for being hit, but we also are turning on the ragdoll physics, but only using 50% of the physics weight. That's nice. And adding camera shake, of course. And if we landed and are still alive, we are getting back to just straight animation, no ragdoll. Okay. And then of course death. But we are... I'm sorry, disabling input. Enabling the full ragdoll. Hiding all the UI elements. And then respawning. Okay. It was intimidating, but there isn't too much complicated logic in here. So what other blueprints do we have interesting here? These are camera shakes. Combat dummy, that's what I wanted to see. This freaking funny guy that you can hit and he will be like wow, 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 moving around. So when we are, it also implements damageable interface and it applies impulse at location to our dummy and spawns a particle. So it's a really simple thing. It applies the impulse, but the dummy is being constrained by physics constraints. So that's how it works. The dummy constrains nothing to nothing. Wait, what? Oh yeah. They're using constraint script, construction script to set constraints between base plate and a dummy. So whenever we are hitting it, it just receives the physics impulse and that's how it moves around, right? And we have the physics constraint set up. So it has limited angular limits and can swing 45 degrees in all of the axis, XI. That's kinda it. Nice, nice. I might pick up on that trick for my game prototype, bow and arrow, to have some of the interactable elements be bouncing up on the physics constraint. That seems cool. Alright, so that's the combat character. Do we have any interesting more blueprints that we can look up? Damageable box, which I guess is just, yeah, when we get damage. The boxes have HP? Wow, I didn't knew that. If it gets below, it will destroy the box. Oh, it will scale the actor down when it is being destroyed. Okay. And how much of a health do they have? 3. And how much do I deal damage? Base damage goes from here. Damage, melee attack. I hit for 1 HP. So I have to hit the box 3 times to see it disappear. Okay. And it of course applies impulse at location and spawn sparks. And when it gets destroyed, it scales down. I want to see that in a second. One, 2. And I didn't see jack shit. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, it scales like that. Okay, it's not super fast, but so yeah. I want to kick it. I really want to kick it. Like, yep. Yeah. That was nice. And they are broken. Okay. So that's interesting. And when it comes to blueprints, lava floor, as I suspected, it's just applying damage to the character. And it probably kills a character. Combat checkpoint. It updates the respawn checkpoint location. Yeah, ain't nothing to it. Combat activation volume. When the player enters this volume, it activates all actors reference on its actors to activate array and deactivates when... Okay, so this is for the ring. When we entered the ring, that's how those actors are being activated, right? If I am correct. It's probably this volume. I'll be able to select it, god damn it. No, activation volume. Which is the exact same thing, okay. And there should be a list of which actors to activate. VP enemy spawner 3. Which is one of those. This is spawner 5. Spawner 3, yeah. This is the thing that is cool to see. Enemy spawner, how they handle this. This class allows you to spawn and respawn enemies at specific location. You can adjust the type of enemy spawn, blah blah, the respawn count, and spawn delay. Okay. So on begin play, it checks whether it should spawn enemies immediately, and it will spawn enemy. Activatable interactions, so yeah. Oh, so that's what the activatable interface was for. Because then you can have those volumes that could activate whatever the hell you want, and then each actor that is supposed to be activatable by getting into the volume can execute its own activation logic. So okay, that's nice. That's nice ways of using interfaces and volumes, etc. So it will spawn enemy, and when it will spawn enemy, it just spawns an enemy class and binds an event to on an enemy died. And on an enemy died, it checks how many enemies it should still spawn during the whole thing. If spawner is depleted, then it can still have actors to activate when depleted and call activation on them. So you can set up, you know, that your combat spawner, enemy spawner can activate other spawners after it's being depleted. So you can create nice chain reaction between those spawners. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Wait for a bit and respawn the enemy if it still is not depleted. Okay, that's cool. So, if I understand it correctly, this volume can activate this specific spawner, and this specific spawner, after being depleted, activates spawner 4 and 5. That is such a cool pattern that I will for sure use it in my project. So to save on what I would be using, it will be FPP-FOV rendering, that's for sure. Bouncy dummies and arrows. That's what I want to use. Yeah, and activatable interface and volumes with actors to activate arrays, because that's such a cool pattern. Let me tell you why. Because you can have just as they did. Why did I never came up with this idea? I don't know. I guess I'm a dummy too. But basically you can have this activatable interface, right? Blueprint interface, which means anything that will inherit this interface can be toggled to be activated, right? And then you can have one volume which contains a list of actors, and those actors can be whatever. It can be enemy spawner, it can be physics unlocker or whatever, physics unlocker, some, I don't know, water dam. I'm just freestyling right now, right? But basically it can contain the whole array of these actors, and when the player gets in here, all those actors will automatically get activated in the bigger level, just as it is in this template. But what happens there is that those physics unlocker can have their own array of actors to point to and activate other things, right? And you can have an additional logic if one of those things, for example, breaks. It can have another list of actors to activate, which, for example, could be one of the enemy spawners, it could be water dam, or it could be something another completely different, like, I don't know, some fire phoenix will awaken or something. Like, you can create a nice chain and plan a nice chain of reaction that will happen once you enter the certain volume, or once you hit certain button, or once you do specific action. So that's a very powerful thing to have, like this activatable blueprint interface, and then everything can implement its own logic and you can create a chain reaction between things, right? That also would be easily traceable because reference viewer will pick up on that and will show you like, hey, what is being referenced by this volume? And you will see this will, then physics unlocker will have a reference to this array of actors and to this, so it will also be easily traceable. This is a really nice pattern. I encourage using it. And let me make it a little bit bigger so it shows up on the screen. Right? These are the things that right now I'm for sure am taking to my bow and arrow prototypes. FPP, FOV rendering, those bouncy dummy scenarios, an activatable interface, and volumes and everything with actors to activate, because it seems wonderful. Yep. An activation delay, etc., etc. Let's look at combat enemy. What does he has? He has his own complicated logic. It creates its own life bar. It's nice. How nice is that they commented where this event is being called from? So you don't have to like look through or debug it or whatever. It just tells you that there's a specific state tree task that will call this event, which is combo attack. And if it is combo attacking, it will also, be playing montage and do everything as regular character does. It has its own attack trace, which only will trace pawns, right? Which is also awesome. Yeah. It can check for combo and montage. Yeah, it's very similar to combat character. Combat enemy and combat character. The only thing is that these events are being called from state tree instead of being, used by inputs. But if I were to optimize it a little bit, I would combine both of those, combat enemy and combat character, into one singular entity, and just have those events being called either by inputs or by state tree. Or even better, I heard from my friend that watched the Sea of Thieves presentation on GDC, during GDC, that you could even, and that's how they did their enemies, that their enemies also rely on inputs, like irregular inputs, right? But just the fact that those inputs are being raised and called by, behavior trees, right? So instead of like creating a custom logic to call an event, you're just calling the input being pressed, right? And it gives you two benefits. One is you have one character that reacts on inputs, and this input is either being actually raised by the physical controller or by some AI handling, so behavior tree or state tree. And the other thing is that you can possess any character if it has such inputs, right? You can possess any character. You can quickly make a game where you can possess your, main characters, or you can possess any of the enemies and start using them. Prototype kind of way, right? Like in game prototype. I always wanted to do this. I'm not sure if to try this in a video game, this kind of pattern. I'm not sure if I'll be able to if it makes sense to use it for my bow and arrow game, because those enemies will be super simplistic. But maybe just as an exercise for training, why not? Yeah, even like movement, from what I understand in Sea of Thieves, of the enemy characters is being done by simulating the actual physical input press via AI interface, right? So that seems really cool. If it is true, because I haven't checked this presentation on my own, but I believe the guy that told me all this stuff. Yeah, because it's super similar, almost one-to-one to combat character. It applies damage and stops montages. If it's getting attacked. Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's really exactly the same kind of blueprint, just with the comment that which event is being called from which state tree. And calling back to state tree that attack is completed. But that's kinda it. It is exactly the same. With those two differences, it is exactly the same as the combat character. Yeah, so these are the enemies. We have combat AI controller that it just have a state tree and path following component. And it has a state tree that is a little bit complicated. Select behaviors at random. Either it will be attacking, or it will be idling. Oh, so it's random. Or flanking. Yeah. Where's my mouse? Here's my mouse. Environmental query systems for falling back. Yeah, I have to dig deeper into AIs and enemies. I wonder if video game industry will embrace a new naming for enemies inside of a game or non-playable characters. Because right now, if you say AI, everyone is thinking ChatGPT, Gemini, or the LLMs, right? But AI is how the enemies or NPCs in video games have been called like. So I wonder if we'll just fall back to call ourselves NPC and enemies programmer instead of AI programmer. Because AI engineer and AI engineer can mean two different completely jobs, right? So I do wonder how it will change. Oh, let me quickly see. Okay. Family stuff, but it can wait. Alright, so interactables checked, AI checked. I guess on to the next one. We got hour and a half left. Let's check another variant from the third person. Will I be able to go through all of them? Now I got real scared. Let's see. Let's see another third person variant. Combat was an awesome one. I loved Combat 1. It actually had some gameplay that was fun. And now let's see platforming. Variant, platforming. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say that those variants of templates and the templates themselves are way better than what they used to be before 5.6. Actually, they are teaching you lots of stuff. Let me quickly get my bearings. Okay, I'm here. I just need another snack. And yeah, regular level third person is the one that you know, but let's turn on variant platforming. And let's just play it. Oh, we have like some trails on the legs. We have double jump. And okay, you can. The sliding is real. The sliding is real in this example. Or maybe it is just me. No, it is just me. Oh! We can bounce off the walls. I didn't. Whoa! Okay. We will see how it is being done. So it means I can go. Can I? No, I cannot do this. I kinda can. Yeah, I kinda can. Just jump off the wall and get back onto this thing. Okay. And what? That's it? Ninja Gaiden style. That is actually cool. Barabash is here. Hi Barabash. Did you just wake up? I hope you have a nice day, man. Barabash says try to go into corner. Jump off the wall to the next wall. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I did. But I can try jumping into the corner. But it will probably arbitrarily select one of the walls. Yeah, yeah. That is also nice. Okay. Nice variant example. It actually shows off. Yeah, I like those variants. The only thing that I didn't like was changing of the weapon in the first person variant by pressing left shift. But you can change it on your own, right? Barabar says add wall run and you have Prince of Persia game. And Dexterovsky is also here. Hi, long time no see. Hi. Yeah, it's been a long time, right? Nothing like chocolate that's is too warm. How are you doing? How is your measurement tool plugin doing? Ah, shit. It ain't easy. There's one thing that I would change if I were to make it into a real game. Is that the inputs here are a little bit confusing. I vaguely have some memories of first Infamous having similar problem, but whatever. Yeah, I like this example, but the combat one was the best, at least for now. Dexterowski answers about the measurement tool plugin. I almost got the minimum viable product, but I have some issues with the scene proxy and PDI's drawing lines. Oh, okay. What kind of issues? Do those just don't appear on screen? And Barabash, did you... I got a question for Barabash. Did you saw the combat example? It has some Sifu Absolver vibes. And for anyone who's watching it, Dexterowski is working on a nice, cool measurement plugin. He showed how it works on Discord, and he also submitted it to Reddit, and it gained some traction. Let me post a link to the Reddit. Here is the Reddit, or maybe I just, will post the Discord link. Once again. Here's the Discord too. Here's the link to the Discord, and you can see what Dexterowski was making. I will show you here on screen. Let me just quickly grab it here. Cool measurement tool where you can measure distance like this. Grab a vertex. Where do you want to measure it towards? And it measures. It's really awesome. It's really awesome. I really encourage you to go to the Discord. You can find some cool shit like this. Barabash answers, only a second. I just joined, so I wanted to see what you are showing today and then move on to the live part. Okay. I will get back to the combat one after I look through this thing to show you, because it really has some Absolver vibes. Or maybe I could just quickly turn them on at the same time. Let's see if my PC will blow up. And then Dexterowski answers, in short, the further of the world origin, the more unstable drawing lines is. It is flickering, disappearing, but when it is near 0, 0, 0, it is working without any problem. That's a wild problem. It is probably some floating point error. But why though? It is a weird error, I gotta say. Okay, let's open up for Barabash the combat level. Look, a poor man's Absolver. And Sifu. You can kick, you can have a charge attack. And okay, we need to go in here. You actually have some enemies in here. Their attacks are chosen at random, but and their behavior. And they died on lava, and then 2 other are spawned. Come on, come on. Yeah. Yeah, so you can, just fight it here. And it's kind of a cool example of how to set up things, etc. You don't have a lot of combos, but you have one, at least. Which is way more than in any template before. Dexterowski says, it sounds like a floating point error, but vectors are as doubles, and text labels are drawn the same, so it must be something else. Huh. If they are doubles, then yeah, it is weird. Is it something with the editor viewport? It's hard to tell, but it is a weird error. And text is not disappearing on the lines. It sounds really freaking weird. I gotta be honest. Barabar says, nice. Can you change the camera to FPP and show how it looks then? Those animations were not made for TPP. But I might try to add quickly. Maybe some FPP camera. It won't look good, but let's duplicate this mesh. Put it in here. Maybe, no, fuck the duplication. Let's just put camera here. I kind of fucked up the whole example. I should have... Okay, I will just Control Z in a second. Where the hell is camera? Let's put it in here. What the? Whoa. Yeah, let's put it right in here. Maybe a little bit further back, and let's just click on first person rendering. This is a cool trick. FOV rendering. Finally in Unreal after all these 27 years. Rendering here. First person primitive type. First person. In camera, I can be enabled first person field of view and first... No, scaling no, because we need to attack still. And make it, I don't know, 70. Barabar says, I think you should attach it to head static. I don't think so, because then we will be puking, because it will be moving along with the head, and I mean, I can show you why I don't think it is a good idea. That's how it looks right now. We could disable maybe the head or something, or cut off the head and the mesh, but at least we do see something. Now if we attach it to head socket, let's see what that will mean. Head. First of all, it is a little bit inversed. Or this is a Magnus point of view. Yeah, we had a guy in my neighborhood called Magnus because his head is constantly like this, as if he had a magnet here and here, and this is his point of view to the world. A little bit of trivia from my neighborhood. Dexterowski says, I found out that the position start end is turning into 0 vector when it disappears, but I do not have an idea what can be causing it. But it's the start end position of 0 vector in your code or in the rendering code? DJ POV. Okay, yeah, it could also be called that. And if we want to fix it, I guess I have to roll 0 in here, I think. Oh no, that was actually correct. I'm always getting this wrong. Which axis is called which? Now we're talking. That's how our brains really see. So 180. Ah, yeah, of course. It's supposed to be minus 90. I am a Dumbo. And then I need to revert back this whole fucking thing. Ah, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Because his head is bouncing all the way. But you don't get to see those hands, etc. So it's better to not parent it to head socket. Because you don't get to see anything. Yeah, now let's press Ctrl Z as many times as it will take to fix what I just did. I think that's it. Yeah, so that's the combat prototype. Let's turn it off. Just wanted to show it quickly to Barabash. Dexterowski says line start end position. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure why it could be that those are getting reverted back to 0. It's either an error on the Unreal Engine side that there's something constantly overriding this part of memory, or maybe you're overriding it on your own code. Not sure. I know that there is a way to set up the memory break, but it never worked on my end on my PC. It worked for my lead at work to set up the memory break, so you could access the address of the memory that your variable has and then set up a break that whenever something changes it, the rider will break and it will show you what exactly was trying to access this part of memory. But it never worked on my end in rider. Okay, let's see how they set up anything here. And maybe also let's look what kind of inputs do we have. We still have a couple more templates and variants to go through. So I'll try to pick up the pace. Input. Oh, and they have fab in here. And what does it do? Ah, it just opens up fab in here. Or do you have to log in? Yeah, you have to log in. It doesn't automatically register that, hey, you're running Unreal and you're logged into it. But at least you don't have to use the browser for that. It is in-game. So that's cool. Dexterowski says, data breakpoint, good idea. Yeah, if it works on your end, then I would use that. It never worked on my PC. I'm not sure why. Okay, platforming character. Not much of a big of a blueprint and well commented, I see. On possession, it just creates mapping context, of course. Sets color parameters for trails, great. Basic inputs. What kind of BPIs are we inheriting? BPI touch interface, okay. That's the one thing that they are relying on heavily in those new templates and variants, is blueprint interfaces, showing everyone how they could use interface to create a nice separation of logic between things instead of what it used to be when things were calling other things directly. I have dash input? I didn't press dash input. Okay, I need to look at it. Show me the inputs. Show me what you got. Look, dash is under left shift. Okay. Okay, so we have a dash that I haven't seen. Jump input, try multi-jump, which, yeah, if we're dashing, then if we are not dashing, then we can actually start jumping, and they are not using mover. That's sad, but I hope that one day I will see mover component here instead of character movement. Yeah, and it just activates trails. Jump, and we can do double jump. Has wall jumps. If we just did a wall jump, block us out of wall jumping again for a while. Okay, so that's why we cannot constantly spam wall jumping. Okay. Run a collision check ahead of us to see if there's a wall in front of us we can jump off. Okay, so that's how the jumping of... That's how wall jump starts. We are just doing a sphere trace, and if it is blocking, then we are selecting rotating character away from the wall and launching the character, and that's it, really. Okay. And if we are not wall jumping, then we are double jumping, which is just calling jump on the character. And when we land it, we are calling all this stuff. Deactivating trails. Yeah, simple, nice, simple blueprint. Oh, it's the same animation that was being used in Mover. Yeah, so we have dash, we have jumping. Yeah, if someone were to prototype a little bit of platforming third-person game, they could just use that as a basis, I guess. It is janky, but you know, it is supposed to be just a template, not the fully fledged games. So yeah, I think that's it for platforming. Do we have anything else to look at when it comes to blueprints? Not really. This is super simple. There are no pickups, no anything. Only one anim. Okay, let's go on to the next. Next. There was 2.5D platformer as well. Let's see this variant. Get away, this kid. And why are you displaying in that particular place? Side scroller. For now, the most disappointing variant for me was the horror one, but mostly because it didn't feature cool blueprints. It was only stamina and that's it. Ain't nothing to it. So variant side scroller. Let's turn that on. And let's click play. I wish my gamepad was charged. It isn't, but whoa. Crazy 2D jumping. We don't have dash, we have double jump. Whee! Oh, we have one-way platforms. That's something to look at. How, you know, it was being done. Oh, no double jumping. No triple jumping after wall jump. Okay. This perspective reminds me of, there was this game Duke Nukem Manhattan Project. Kind of reminds me of that. A slight puzzle, collecting pickups. Yep. Some kind of enemy that is more of an obstacle. Bow. Bow. Okay. An elevator, huh? There's more elements in here. And the ending of the level. I half expected there to be a flag post. And this thing goes down. Nah. Double jump is locked out. And the ending. Ah, really cool prototype, I'll be honest. Cool prototype. Let's look at how they set all of this up. First of all, level blueprint. Do they have anything in here? Hopefully not, and they don't. Great. Side-scrolling character. They have some function here. Check for soft collision. What the fuck is soft collision? Object type query 7. Okay, there is something more going on in here. Although there isn't too much in the blueprint. Let's look at the interfaces. BPI side scrolling, BPI interface side scrolling. Okay, let's look at this interface. It has interaction, player detected, update UI, soft collision switch, set soft collision. Not sure what soft collision is. I hope some comment will help me understand. At the begin play, we are registering event. Okay. On possession, we are seeing if it is being a player controlled character. And special stuff for iOS and Android. Okay. Yeah, because the cool thing is also for all you mobile developers out there that all of these templates and variables are supposed to work on a mobile platform as well. So they're already showing you how to show the UI touch interface. They implemented all the touch inputs, etc, etc, etc. So on interact action. Wait, I have input interaction. Once again, I haven't clicked on something. So I can interact with stuff. Okay. Okay. Moving of the player, which is just add movement input into the specific direction. Jumping checks for soft collision. There is no comment on what that is, and I don't understand what soft collision is supposed to mean, because there's no soft body physics in this game. If we're grounded, disregard advanced jump logic. Okay. But if we are falling, that we can jump again. Okay, wall jump logic. If player is moving vertically. Okay. Line trace out to see if we hit collision, and then launch player into the opposite direction. Okay, so it's very similar wall jump to what it was in the platformer, 3D platformer variant. You can launch character, etc, etc. Okay, double jump logic. Prioritize wall jump, skip double jump if we're already wall jumping. Regular stuff. Enable or disable collision response so we can go through soft collision platforms. Oh, that's what they mean. Oh my freaking god. So the one-way platforms that you can, for example, jump from below and land on top of, typical stuff, right? Is being called soft collision. Okay, I didn't know. I never worked on a platformer game, I only played them. And depending on whether we are, if we trace against something that has the soft collision, we are ignoring the trace channel so we can pass through, and then, from what I understand, we are enabling it so we can stand on it. That's how they did it. For a hot second, a player is ignoring a specific trace channel collision. That's kind of clever. That is kind of clever to do it that way, and quite simple and fast. I need to check this interaction. What does implement the interaction interface? There's a drop? Huh. Drop is okay. F is interact. Okay. And we have the side-scrolling NPC. That's just moving around. Okay. Blueprint, side-scrolling character. It was simple. Side-scrolling camera manager. That is interesting. Player camera manager. And I guess it shows, yeah, it controls the way that the camera is smoothly following the player. Okay. And it interpolates. Okay, so we have this more like Mario or Rayman Legends type of camera in here. Okay. And depending on our move, we are interpolating camera location towards the desired camera location. We are tracing if there is something ahead, so we can stop at, you know, something that has a collision. And we are basing it on player Z velocity. Okay. Makes sense. And also camera zoom is being managed constantly. So in theory, here is where this part is when you could implement logic where the camera has to zoom in to show like a smaller room and zoom out when you're exiting out of room or something. Here's the moment where, here's the precise fragment of blueprint where you could try implement such stuff. Okay, but those interfaces of interaction, where they are, 'cause I don't see them. Ah, it is BP side scrolling, of course. And what does implement it? Pickup implements it. Interesting. And what does it do on the interaction? Nothing. Okay. Or does it? No, nothing. It does completely freaking nothing. Okay. I just added those two. Okay, no. What else? Moving platform, two-sided switch. Everything implements it, but Inherits it, but there's no interaction. Oh, there is interaction actually with the NPC. When I click the interaction, it will launch the character. Oh, okay. Let's see that in action. The launching. Oh, sorry for a second. That is important. Give me a sec. Okay, a situation arose, important family situation right now, and it might mean that I need to finish the stream a little bit sooner, because I might need to, go help someone with specific family situation, but we'll see the response. Oh yeah, it's just launching the character. It is following me and okay, so it's just doing the launch thing. Okay, so there's that. Not that much of interaction going on. But okay. That has been side-scrolling. So free third-person variants. Don't save anything. Epic Games Launcher. And let's see what did they cook up for the next stuff. I might be able to do one more before I have to finish, because I think I'm needed for the family situation. There's top-down and vehicle left. Discord, get away. Time trial and off-roading vehicle, and top-down has strategy or twin stick. Let's quickly turn on strategy. Let's quickly take a bearing what's going on there, and after that I guess I would have to finish for today because of family stuff. Okay, so this is a regular top-down. Which works in a Diablo way, I see. I'm pressing somewhere and the character is supposed to move there, but it's just moving like a slight inch. The character is running. Okay, so that's a regular setup. Now let's look into variant. Which I have no idea what I'm doing, so let's click on stuff. Selected. Oh. What? What's going on with this funky camera? Why can't I? Okay, I'm selecting. And the character moves here. I cannot. Ah, okay. I'm moving camera. Oh my god, it's so blurry on my end. Or we can like select those two and tell them to go here. And they will go as they are being told to. I have this guy. Can I tell him to get on this? Can I tell him to get on this? No, he's not able to jump. Those two guys can get in here. It's kind of it's giving the Fallout vibe. And here's the cutout. Oh, a hidden character. Okay. Now I got all 5 of them. And they can not do much. There are no enemies, nothing to interact with, I guess. There might be another guy hidden in here. Yeah! Here's another guy hidden in here, actually. And where are the rest of those guys? They don't move? What the hell happened? Go in there. Thank you. Ah, it's a nice little setup of if you wanted to do your own perspective, kinda like in Fallout or something like this. And the arrow colors also shows you where you can get. Like this is a red arrows, and where you cannot get and where you can get with the blue arrows. All right. Nice little setup, nice. There are like some point links. This cutout is cool. I wonder how that was made. Details, it has material cutout, and how does it work? It just takes screen position and script resolution. Okay. Shadow pass switch, and all of that goes into opacity mask. I don't understand it really. I mean, I understand that it takes the screen position and resolution, calculates the distance, right? Of the given thing. I don't get the shadow pass switch, why this would be here. But then all of it is being sent into the opacity mask. Nicely done. Oh. Okay, yeah, I have to go attend to the family stuff. So sorry for that. I have to end the stream a little bit prematurely, but you know, life happens and life situation can show up. Yeah, so I guess I will still be unpacking this top-down variant in the next stream. And after that, I would love to get back to coding my own game, prototyping the game. Yeah, and I will announce when the next stream will be on the Discord, because I know that I won't be able to stream on the next Sunday. But I will try to find some how the makeup date for that stream. Yeah. So that's been me for today. Sorry for ending prematurely. Dexterski says, yeah, no problem. Have a nice rest of the day. Yeah, you too, guys. Have a nice rest of the day and have a nice next new week. I hope it is as beautiful as the weather is outside right now of my apartment. My apartment. Apartment that I'm renting. my apartment. That's been a good joke. And on that note, yeah. On that note, I bid you adieu and have a nice rest of the day. Bye, guys.